Okay, we're in the section on statistics and using Sage. This is the tutorial for the statistics portion. It's certainly not thorough, but it's enough to get you started. All right. So let me go to the terminal. And what I'm going to do is kind of look over the code. I'm not going to type in everything, by the way, but I kind of want to look at this first thing over here. One thing I noticed is that rand int, and then the rand int, I notice I give a range from 1 to, looks like 1,000. I'm just going to put to 10 now and see what happens. And it gives me an integer. Certainly, there's the integer we're talking about. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 is certainly an integer from that range. All right. Now you could keep typing this in, and I could do this all day long. And the point of it is it's returning an integer between 1 and 10. It's really not random. It's what's known as pseudo-random. I wouldn't worry so much about that, though. But what I want to do is I'm going to copy this, see if I can. No, I can't. You know why? It's going to copy that 500 there. I'm still going to copy it. See what I'm going to do over here. I'm going to paste it in there. And I noticed that that 500 was copied through, so I'm just going to delete that out. All right. So that's the data. I can display the data, and that's the data over there. Now, I want to point out the data that I'm getting here is different than the data that I'm getting in my notes. All right. Again, if I run that command again, let's see what we get for the data now. I'm getting a different set. All right, and you're going to get different sets depending on when you run that. All right, so don't think that's like it's going to come out standard each time. So here's the deal. What are they doing with it? You know, they find the mean of the data. Again, the numbers that you're going to get are going to be different than mine. But you would be expected to type in those commands: the mean, the median, the mode. Again, if you notice that this is kind of standard, variance, and what's known as the standard deviation. All right. Now, of course, they talk about something that if the bias is true or not. And if the bias is true, these numbers are going to be computed differently. All right. Now, that's something I guess you look at something sample standard deviation and a population standard deviation. I wouldn't worry so much about that, other than the fact that these options are available, and there's an extensive amount of options available to you in Sage. All right. Also, things about moving averages. Again, you may want to consider reading into that. I want to point out what I mean by that. If I type in moving, and then I put a question mark, what I did was, let me explain what I just did. I typed in MOV, and then hit the tab button, and moving average came up. In other words, another command. If I type in MO, though, and hit tab, watch what happens. I'm going to hit the tab button now. A lot of things come up. And what do I want to get? I want to get the moving average. I'm going to hit the question mark and hit the return. And what it gives me like a help page for that command. All right, and you can read through that if you like. Okay, so I'm going to just clear the screen. And the expectation here is you can go through that, look at the code. Again, when I say you type in code, look at the output as well, but certainly look at the code and the output and see how they relate to one another. All right, here's the deal. You should be able to do this problem set over here. All right, in other words, each question you should be able to do on your own. Of course, I provide for you the the way I would type this up. I want to repeat this though. The numbers that I'm getting here from my work might be different than the numbers you're getting. All right, it'd be highly unlikely the same numbers, by the way. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. All right. So when we come back, we'll move forward. But the bottom line is a very short section on using the statistic portion of Sage. However, keep in mind, Sage is far more extensible than we're accessing it is from these nodes over here. It's just an introduction. Thank you.